Hello. I reached intermediate stopping point on this under deck weatherproofing project that I alluded to about a month ago, and progress has been slow, and not because I didn't want to work on it. It's kind of some tricky engineering, which I'll explain here. I think I finally figured out a pretty good approach to the problem. But here's an aerial view of the house. I've circled the deck, which is in the backyard. It's a walkout deck, which is great for the two upstairs bedrooms that get to use it. There's some additional space under the deck, and it's covered, but it's not weatherproof because water can drip through the ceiling. So the previous owners planted grapevines against the deck posts. I've since cut these out since it's completely overgrown during the summer months and pretty just ugly during the other months. Here's the space is small, but it's kind of nice. Um, Though if you're going to use this as a picnic area or whatever, this is the previous owners, this is the Zillow shots off of the previous owners. Um, it's not real appropriate for this kind of usage because every time it rains, it's going to drip, dirty deck water onto the deck below. So that table there, which is staged for the realtor photos, is going to be dirty all the time. So it's not all that useful. And also, we've got plenty of kind of summer spaces. The deck above is a great summer space, but what I need is more three-season spaces. Here in Colorado, three-season means you can use it in the spring and the fall. So if it's, you know, 40 degrees Fahrenheit outside, it would still be comfortable. Um, this kind of means I'm going to need to add a roof to drain the water away, and I'm going to need to add some type of a wall to keep the space warmer than it would be without a wall. So this video is just concerned with the roof under the deck. So looking around YouTube, the most obvious solution is to get some type of roofing material, say the ugly corrugated polycarbonate panels. You could just screw these to the underside of the deck joist. It's crude, but ineffective. But the method has some definite downsides. For one, you're going to rot out the deck joist. Moisture is just going to collect between the bottom of the deck joist and the top of the polycarbonate panel. Secondly, like if you have pine trees around, or even if you don't, you're going to have a lot of debris built up above those panels after a few years, and there's really no easy method to clean such a system if you screw them permanently to the underside of the deck joist. Thirdly, if your deck's like ours, it just simply is not, it's not level. So if you were doing polycarbonate panels, you would have to very carefully measure the level and maybe use spacers to kind of maintain the elevation of the roof panel so that you got drainage away from the house and you didn't get puddling in the middle of the panels, which would further rot out your joist. So that sounds like a real pain, especially because these polycarbonate panels are really flexible and kind of a pain to work with. So I decided to try something new. The method that I use here may not be the best method, but it's out there, and you can tell me in the comments if you think it's dumb or you think it's smart. I did get it to work. We'll see how it goes through a winter, but anyway, I'm using what I call a floating underdeck roof. I'm using twin wall polycarbonate material. This material is fairly stiff, yet it's really strong and quite light. It's easy to cut with a jigsaw and just easy to work with in general. It's a choice material for greenhouse walls because it does offer a lot more insulating properties than either single wall polycarbonate or just greenhouse plastic. As you can imagine, it's going to be more expensive than other materials, but it's durable. It's good material. So I'm going to show you how I installed one section of the roof. Okay, so the first thing that I did was hang a couple 2x4s vertically. So long, the long side against the tall side up, shown in red. So I used 4-inch deck screws to attach these 2x4s to the deck joists. And to do this, I had to countersink about 1 inch so that they would grab into the deck by deck joist about 2 inches. I put butyl deck joist tape in between the 2x4 and the deck joist. This is to try to inhibit any rotting wood rot from moisture collecting between the two joists. So the general idea is to run two 2x4 cross beams shown in green below the red 2x4s that I installed. So then I would join two 4x8 foot twin wall polycarbonate sheets together and leave them just floating on the green 2x4s. So the twin wall polycarbonate, it's quite stiff, so you can actually get away with them with just resting on the cross braces. If you were using single wall polycarbonate, it'd be flopping all over the place. But there's a little problem. The 2x4 is obviously 8 feet long, unless you buy a longer one, and the two polycarbonate sheets are 8 feet wide. So I would either need to use longer 2x4s or need to trim the polycarbonate to reduce their width if I was going to use this method to kind of fit the two sheets under these cross pieces. So I didn't want to do either, and I got a little bit creative. I bought these flat galvanized steel mending plates from Amazon and attached the plates to the end of the 2x4s. So you're probably wondering how I managed to get a bolt sticking out the end of a 2x4. So the answer is what's called a hanger bolt. So you simply drill into the end of the 2x4, screw the hanger bolt into the hole using a Torx bit, and then you have a 6mm bolt sticking out at the end of the 2x4. I could have certainly just screwed the mending plates onto the 2x4s, but I wanted to build that would be easy to remove if I needed to, either to do maintenance under the deck or to remove the polycarbonate sheets so I can clean them. So here's a photo of the installed roof panels. You're probably noticing that the mending plates have differing amounts of clearance below the 2x4 joist. This is not because I'm sloppy. I actually used a 6 foot level to ensure that the cross braces were flat from side to side and to also maintain a small positive drainage angle from the house out to the exterior. As I mentioned before, my deck has a lot of topography on it. Topography. Basically, the roof of the deck is not flat. So if I would have just screwed the panels into the joists, I would have had spots where water was pooling and not draining away from the house. So the floating system gives me the flexibility to level the roof, even in spite of whatever my deck is doing. Also, because it's floating like this, the water can just drain freely. If it wants to drain to the side a little bit, it can do that. There's no obstructions on how it drains. So I joined together the two polycarbonate sheets with something called an H channel. And you just pop the polycarbonate into the channel and you get a pretty strong watertight junction between the sheets. So here's a close-up view of the uphill side of the deck. So in this case, I'm standing out from under the deck, looking into the deck. Okay, so and finally, if I can start this video, here's a short video that shows the installed deck during a rainstorm, which conveniently happened about an hour after I finished the work. So right now the sheets are just floating. The end of the sheet droops a little, which is actually fine because that keeps the water draining. So I will probably eventually install some type of a gutter system, but I'm not rushing into it as I want to live with the current system for a while and kind of engineer my way around weaknesses or strengths. So going forward, my plan is to install 2 more of these roof panels to fully cover the deck, which is about 24 feet wide. There's undoubtedly some engineering issues to be solved, and I'll report back when I encounter them and hopefully solve them. I'm not really shooting for a hermetically sealed deck. If I can keep 99% of the water off the concrete floor, I'll be happy. The goal here is just to make the space more pleasant in the cooler months and make it more appropriate for the storage. And I also don't want to destroy the deck joists, and I want to be able to remove and clean off those polycarbonate sheets when they get the inevitable debris from above. So I think it's kind of a clever system. You may agree or disagree, but there's going to be more videos, especially as I live with it for a while, but also as I'm probably going to put some vinyl sheeting on the sides to kind of weatherproof it from the side. So anyway, thanks for watching this far if you did, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.